Distinguished Toastmaster Linda Russell is a past president of this club, Club 7213, and a past District 12 treasurer. She is working on her 15th basic manual and doing speech number 5, vocal variety. Please join me in welcoming Distinguished Toastmaster Linda Russell, No on 1A.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. We have a very important election coming up. Let's see, on May 19th, my ballot says. Now, I have an absentee ballot here, and I just finished marking it. So I will be actually mailing it in early. I usually walk it in to the polling place and drop it in the box at that time. I don't like to have a line of people standing behind me while I vote in the voting booth. So I get a permanent absentee ballot. If I'm in town, fine. If I'm out of town, I can vote it ahead of time. But I can vote it right in the privacy of my own kitchen table, which is where I usually do it. So this one's very important. We have quite some history in the state of California of the legislature spending a lot more money than is really coming in. This is not anything new in the state of California. This has gone on for many years. You can go back to the early 90s, 1990s more recently. And each year, some years we have very, very profitable years in the state of California. If you remember back to the late 90s, we had everything was .com this and .com that, and everybody was doing very well and making hand over fist of money. I mean, the times were good, and it trickled all over the state to everybody in the state. And the legislature just kept increasing the programs for the citizens of our state. And they didn't have the foresight or the hindsight to look ahead and say, things are good now. We're really making a lot of money. But, maybe what we really need to do is set aside some of this money for the bad years. But they didn't do this. And they kept each year just increasing it. And they said, boy, this is just going to get better and better. We're going to get richer and richer. And they just got kind of carried away with themselves. And I think most of us know how easy that is to do. How easy it is to, when things are going well, run up your credit cards. $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. And then you've got the loan on the car. It's another $20,000 to $30,000 before you realize. And then if you have a more than one car, or you buy a house, you have to finance the house. You can be very, very deeply in debt. And the state of California has done that over the past 20 years. And these ballot measures here are basically the legislature asking us to continue to rubber stamp what they have done. Now, they just raised the sales tax in the state of California. It was effective April 1st. They raised the state part of the sales tax by 1%. So if your sales tax was 7.75, it went to 8.75. If it was 8.25, it went to 9.25. And they raised it for 2 years. So that increase in the sales tax went into effect from April 1st, 2009 to March 31st, 2011. This ballot measure, 1A, if you vote yes on it, you will increase it from April 1st, 2011 to March 31st, 2013. So they're asking you, now the way they try to get you to fall for this is, they say that there's going to be a built-in cap now. I don't know if any of you voted 3-4 years ago. I remember voting yes to allow the state of California to refinance all their debt. I think we refinanced something like $8 billion of debt into new bonds. Because remember, the interest rate had come down quite a bit. Interest rate was low. It's been historically low now for quite some time. And thank God it hasn't crept back up yet. It's still staying low. But we agreed to that. And at that time, I know they told us they were going to cap. They were going to cap it. So there would be a limit as to how much they spent. But you know, the following year, there was no limit. We were scratching our head going, what happened? What happened? And you know what? There was some loophole that the legislature worked into that, so that it wasn't really a limit after all. And I hate to tell you, but I'd be willing to make bet. I'll bet $100 on that. And that's a lot of money for me to bet. I'll bet $100 that this cap really won't work. So if you want to extend the state income tax increase for 2 years and the state sales tax increase, then vote yes on 1A. Otherwise, vote no on 1A. All right? Now, 1B, 1D, and 1E, which is education funding, children's services funding, and mental health funding, those three parts are a shell game. What they're doing is they're moving money from one fund to another fund and back again, and they're just moving it all around. And they have been doing that for years as well, but they're asking us to vote to rubber stamp it and say, yes, we think it's a good idea, keep moving the money around, from A to B to C and back again, and then we'll guess where the money is. All right. So I voted no on those. Now, another one, the title of the speech should have been no on 1A and 1C. 1C, we have a state lottery, right? And they sell lottery tickets mainly to poor people in this state. And most people do not win at the lottery. That's how they make money to help pay for education. Except that a long time ago, they actually stopped when the lottery was making a lot of money for education. What they did is they said, oh, you know what? The lottery's making all the money education needs. We won't take any money from the general fund now and put it to education. We'll just let the lottery pay for it. We'll only add what's missing. So here are the people who voted for the lottery. It turns out it never gave more money to education. It just kept the levels at the same amount. You can check with Greg on that when I see him shaking his head yes. What they're going to do in this, they know they're going to make money next year and the year after and the year after that. You know what they're going to do? They are going to borrow against the money they're going to make next year and the year after and the year after that. How stupid is that? So whatever profits they are going to make, if they don't make them, we're in trouble now. It's like buying your groceries with your credit card today. What are you going to use to eat tomorrow? So I would say no on 1A, no on 1C. I actually did vote yes on 1F. That's the one that says it prevents pay increases for elected officials during budget deficit years. But the loophole there is there's somebody in Sacramento who has to declare it's a budget deficit year. And I'd be willing to bet $100 on that they'll never declare a budget deficit year. Mr. Toastmaster.